Good morning! Happy Monday, beautiful beings! And for anyone who's watching this later in the week, thank you for joining. I will be pulling one intuitive card for the week ahead. Today's November 9th, so this will be until November 16th, 2020. And then I will also be telling you about our beacon card for the week, which, if you don't know about beacon cards, are calculated with the date that you're calculating for. So if we're doing a beacon card for the full week, you would calculate with the date that your week starts on. So my week starts on a Monday because I work at a restaurant through the weekends and my days off start on Mondays, and I have this that I do, so that's where I'm starting my week off. And if you've never done this before, all you need to do is, I actually just posted about how to calculate your card of the year, the numerology idea where you add up each individual digit for the date stays the same for the beacon card as well. So I do that for today and reduce it to a number. Normally it's less than 22, which helps us in tarot, but if it isn't, then you'd have to, if it's something above 23 and up, you would have to add those two digits separately again to get a number below that. And so today our number for our beacon card is the Devil. And I think the Devil card came up a few weeks ago as well as our beacon card of the week ahead. And that's okay. These energies are here for a reason this year, I'm sure. And I'll tell you, I'm reading from a different deck. This is the DruidCraft tarot deck. It has influence from Druid and Gaelic ancestry, which is my ancestry, or half of it at least, or a fraction of it. So the card for the Devil with this deck is actually called, I'm not 100% sure how to say this, but Cernunnos. And this is a Gaelic god, or deity, I suppose, known as the Horned God. And he's the god of beasts, of nature, of wild creatures, and I would assume of those wildish instincts and those animal instincts as well. So I always like to start by looking at the number of the card, because numbers have a vibration, and they definitely have been resonating with me a lot more lately. So the number 15 is made up of number 1 and 5, and if you add those two together, it does come to the sum of 6. And the number 6 is a number of unconditional love. But if we look at number 1 and 5 separately, those are independent numbers. They're very curious and really optimistic as well. So there is bright energy surrounding this card, but there are some things that we should watch out for as well. So the idea of the deity, in the research that I have done, is that Cernunnos brings together man and nature, or predator and prey, so they can lie together. And so when I thought more about that, it really had me feeling that maybe we should look at the ways that we have been angry and rageful, and maybe putting the blame on others that are blatantly possibly doing non-human things or doing things that seem kind of evil. Maybe we can look at that rage and that anger toward people outside of us that are doing harm, and see how that is somewhat of a projection of little aspects of ourselves that we are angry or upset with, so that we have, first of all, a little bit more focus on ourselves, because ultimately our emotions and the way we feel about other people does reflect how we're feeling internally about our own selves and our own souls. And this doesn't mean that we need to forgive just yet, and it doesn't mean we're not allowed to be rageful, but maybe we can tune into that a little bit more right now. And I did want to mention, last week our beacon card was Justice, I believe, which I love. And then throughout the week I did, or I guess it was yesterday maybe, that I had posted 2 card pull that I did, and they were both the Swords suit, and that is a suit of air, and the air element represents justice, and the Justice card is the Libran ruled card, so the scales of justice are definitely at play here. I do want to mention my intuitive pull right now, just so that as I continue with the last of my information or download about the Devil card, that we can maybe put some of this intuitive pulls insight into it as well. And this is another card from the Sword suit. So I pulled the Princess of Swords today. And if we think about the season of air on the medicine wheel, that starts in spring, and spring is the beginning of a new harvest, a new year. You can see how many flowers are here. They have just bloomed. They also have been supported by the sun and the warmth of the sun. So there's a lot of warmth, fiery energy, and new ideas as well. So be open to new perceptions of people, maybe new ways of seeing things, maybe new ways of being in relationship with people that you don't agree with. And that doesn't mean to say that you need to get rid of the anger and the rage, because it's there for a reason, and you're allowed to be mad. You're allowed to be mad for as long as you need to be. But maybe you can, instead of focusing your energy outward, focus on healing yourself with all of these feelings, because it is possible if you tune into them without judgment. It definitely is possible. So some other notes that I put here. If the Devil card makes you feel a certain way, or if it comes up in a spread for you and you feel kind of upset at that and like, ugh, why is that there? Like, I thought I was doing just fine. Like, this tarot reader has no idea what they're talking about. Maybe that's something you can tune into as well. There are definitely some cards in the tarot that are intimidating, and there are some cards that I've come across, and I think the Devil is one of them. I feel a little bit better about it now, but a few months ago I didn't. Where you see them and you just feel, ugh, I didn't really want to see that. But in the back of your heart, you really know that you needed to see it. So just tune into any pangs of upset or pain that you feel around the idea of bad, evil, the devil, because we do all have these aspects of ourselves within us. And as muted as they are there, and we've got to learn to be comfortable with them and with ourselves entirely. So one more thing is just all of the earth energy that's here. So look at how much moss and all of the ferns and just how much greenery is in this card. If you find yourself overwhelmed this week, or trying to move through those emotions and the rage, and you find yourself needing some grounding, it's a great idea to go outside. I mean, it's snowing for me here, but even just going outside, and I would probably put some snow pants on, but like sitting on the ground, you don't have to take your shoes off if it's cold. But if you live somewhere where you can, go and ground your feet with with some bare feet in the ground, and that will definitely help. If you are in a place where there is blooming greenery and there are flowers that are coming to bloom, go and sit with those, meditate with those. And if you do feel called to pick some, ask the plant for permission and thank them when you do. These cards signify lots of great breakthroughs, but there's definitely some challenges. So let's just be patient with ourselves this week. And moving on again to the Princess of Swords, let's just remember that any ideas that come to us are coming to us for a reason this week. The divine sends us these little seeds, and it's up to us to let them blossom or ignore them. And I mean, we do that sometimes, and that's completely okay. But if these are things that you really want, and now you're in a place where you're confident enough to go ahead and take those steps and do those things, then the universe is telling you that now is a good time for that. This energy is fresh, and if you come up with ideas that maybe no one has seen before, or you haven't seen anyone do in the way that you're doing, don't be nervous about it. There will always be kickback, and this sword is double-edged. The things that you maybe need to do with your life and your life purpose, or the things that you desire, getting to those places are also sometimes going to require sacrifice. And you may realize down the line that those things that you lost or that you thought you needed in your life at the moment that you lost them, or the opportunity or the door closed, that actually you didn't, and that it brought you closer to your true path and staying true to yourself anyway. So let's begin the manifestation process as well now. It might not necessarily be the perfect time to take first steps in terms of really building the goal physically, but now is a good time to write any ideas or goals or new perspectives that you have down over the next week, or maybe for the end of the year, until the end of the year. You can keep a journal where you just write down any new discoveries about past pains, about yourself, about your family, about people in your life, about a path that you want to take, about studies that you want to take. Write all of that down. I'm feeling that right now the universe is sending us a lot of information about who we are and the path that we're meant to be on. So it's really important to listen to those things and communicate it to the universe by either writing them down, or you can talk to yourself in the mirror. You can do that as well. That's quite fun too. Let's remember that in order to get to where we want to be, we do have to watch our communication as well. The Princess of Swords is extremely diplomatic, fair. She does strive for justice. And so if that is a key component on the path that you want to start taking, that we're talking about here, then definitely keep aware of your diplomacy and be aware of what you're saying and who you're saying it to. So one last thing is just a reminder to express yourself authentically right now. It may be in new ways, and it may bring in new people for you and new opportunities. That also sometimes means that some opportunities have to close for that to happen. And some of those closings of opportunities have to happen because of you, and maybe if they don't, the universe will step in and close those off for you. But if you tune into what makes you feel good and who makes you feel good, then chances are you will stay on track. Okay, so that is the tarot section of the reading. And I always like to pull a card from my Moonology Oracle card deck to tune into the phases of the moon for the week. And we are just finishing the lunar cycle that began on October 15th, I believe. And so that means we're in a waning moon phase. But today the moon is actually its last quarter moon. So that is a yin phase. And this is one final burst of energy before the moon really starts to sliver off and get dark again. And the moon is in Leo right now, so we do have some of that sunny, fiery, confident energy. And then it moves into Virgo for the next few days as it gets smaller. And so it'll be a waning crescent moon in Virgo and Libra until the 14th of November. And that's when the new moon in Scorpio comes in. And this energy is definitely the energy that I think we need to continue this transformation. And when I pulled this card, it actually came up with the exact moon phase that most of this week we will be in. And this deck actually was a really big proponent to me learning about the moon phases. So I feel like today I'm just going to read straight from the guidebook because it's super, super informative. But before I do that, I do just want to remind you what the energies of these phases of the week hold, because we are in the quarter moon phase today, which is a little bit different than the waning moon or the waning crescent moon. So the quarter moon, like I said, is a yang phase. It's still a doing phase. Even though the doing isn't going to be as big and bold as it was on the full moon, we can still take action. And the action is going to be oriented toward maybe corrections that we need to make in the way that we're achieving or working to achieve our intention. And creating or getting rid of, doing any change that's necessary to uphold our intention, whether that means our intention being completed by the end of the month or the moon cycle, or maybe this is a more long-term intention. And this phase means we're kind of going back to the blueprints and reevaluating things that way and taking action that way. Then the waning crescent phase is a yin phase. From there, you want to take some rest, celebrate any wins, celebrate the progress that you've made, and look at how setting your intention with the lunar cycle has helped you for this phase. And maybe any synchronicities that have fallen into place. You can look back on those. It's a really nice time to just remind yourself how supported you are by the universe. And again, journaling all of that is definitely recommended. I like to do that. You definitely don't have to. And then the new moon that comes in on the 14th will be about setting intention again. And this is a quieter yang phase, but it's still action oriented. And this can be a new intention if we want it to be, or it can be another redraft of the one that maybe we're doing on this last quarter moon. So I'm going to tune into the waning moon energy for us today, just before we finish this reading. And the name of this card is What Do You Need to Release? And this is the winter phase, or the the cooler phase, the darker phase of the lunar cycle. The waning moon points to what's falling away. Life goes in cycles, and sometimes we need downtime or to let go. No matter when in the moon cycle you pull this card, it's a sign that a situation has peaked for better or for worse, and it's time for you to go easier. It's the autumn and winter of the cycle. So what do you need to release? Almost certainly something from the situation you're asking about. This card can be very positive, but it can still be gently suggesting that you let something go and stop trying so hard. It's safe to let go and move on. Remember to move forward with as little resistance as possible. This is not the time to start new projects. Releasing emotional baggage is recommended now. Say sorry to someone. Do energetic work such as meditation or yoga. Great idea. Soon you will see what lies ahead. So I hope that resonated for you. I hope you're all feeling well and rested and a little bit more at ease, but also fully energized for the battle and the work that is still to come. If you resonated with this, I would love to hear from you below, but I will talk to you later on. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me.